Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the part 2 of the clause 7 of ISO 27001 series. In my previous video, we had discussed clause 7.1 and clause 7.2. In this video, we will be discussing clause 7.3 awareness, 7.4 communication, and 7.5 documented information. There are also many sub clauses for 7.5. We'll discuss that in detail. And the mandatory documents that are required to satisfy clause 7 will also be discussed. So let's dive into it. Clause 7.3 awareness. This clause mainly focuses on making sure that the employees of the organization are aware of the implementation of ISMS. Let's read through it. Persons doing work under the organization's control shall be aware of the information security policy. So you have to make sure that every person in the organization is informed about the information security policy and their contribution. What is their contribution to ensure that the effectiveness of the information security management system, their contribution to the effectiveness of the information security management system, including the benefits of the improved information security performance. You have to ensure that the people in the organization are aware of their contribution towards the information security management system, and also you have to make them aware of the benefits of implementing ISMS. In addition to that, you should also make them aware the implications of not conforming with the information security management system requirements. Say, for example, if you are from a human resource team and then you come to know that, after doing the risk analysis, you come to know that you don't have a good background verification policy in your organization. The people working under this team, that is the HR team, should ensure that they have a proper policy, process and procedure in place and implement this background verification process. And if they don't implement it, they should know that they are not conforming to the ISMS. And then if the organization is not getting certified, it's going to have a huge impact. Hence, it is everyone's duty to contribute to the ISMS and everyone must be aware of it. The auditor can, ask you, okay, how have you ensured that you have made the people of the organization aware of your information security management system? So in that case, you can show the artifacts like maybe some training sessions that you can conduct within your organization related to the information security. You can also show some emails where you have sent out the information security policy throughout the company. So these are some of the artifacts that you can show for the clause 7.3 awareness. That is what clause 7.3 talks about. Now let's move to clause 7.4. Clause 7.4 communication. This clause focuses on having a proper communication within your organization and outside your organization about your information security management system and information security policy. Any changes that you do should be communicated well. Let's read. The organization shall determine the need for the internal and external communication relevant to the information security management systems. So you have to ensure that you identify the need for communicating any changes that are happening to your information security management system internally and externally. You have to ensure like on what to communicate, when to communicate, with whom it has to be communicated, and how do you communicate. So all these things you have to bear in mind. Changes or any new policy that has been implemented, that has to be communicated. When to communicate, whenever the change happens, you have to immediately communicate the changes to your employees or within the organization or to the stakeholders or your business partners, whoever it is. There are certain policies that are internal, there are certain policies that are external. Every policy cannot be shared with everyone, right? So you need to ensure with whom, what kind of policy you need to share and how are you going to share? Maybe through email. Like big organizations have these portals where, they put all their policies. So you have to define all these things. For the auditor, you can show some email communications, or you can show some, if you have organized some awareness or any meetings, you can show those MOM as well. Sometimes some organizations have portals where they update all their policies. You can show that as well. So it's all about ensuring that you have proper communication whenever there is any change in your information security management system. I hope that is clear. Now let's move to clause 7.5. Clause 7.5 Documented information. This clause mostly focuses on how well you prepare your document and how you maintain it. This clause is again subdivided into 7.5.1, 5.2, 5.3 and okay. 7.5.1 General. The Organization Information Security Management System shall documented information required by this document. So it says that you have to have everything documented. Documented information determined by the organization as being necessary for the effectiveness of the information security management system. What all documents are required for the effectiveness of the ISMS, you should have those documents. For example, the risk management document, the incident management document, or maybe your information security policy document. Any document that is required for the effectiveness of the information security management, you have to ensure that it is well documented. Note, the extent of documented information for an information security management system can differ from one organization to another organization. I have seen, like, if it is a very small organization, they would not have many policies because their business will be very much limited. Whereas if it is a very big organization, then they have a lot of policies. Like, for example, if I'm running an online business, then I don't have to have a physical security policy, right? In the same way, if I'm running a very big organization with multiple stores and multiple locations, then I'll have a lot of policies. And if I have a lot of features in my application, then I'll have a lot of policies like remote work and so many other policies. The size of the organization and its type of activities, processes, products, and services. So based on these, the kind of activities it is performing, the kind of processes, the kind of products that they have, and the services that they are providing, based on this, the size of the organization will differ. And based on this difference, your documentation might be changed. So it doesn't mean that, it is ISMS says that, okay, you should have all these documents. If you're, for example, if your organization does not have a physical security because you are using only online business, then that is fine. The complexity of the processes and their interactions, and the competence of person. So based on these three requirements, your information security management can differ from different organizations. All you have to do is make sure that you have a proper documented process. Clause 7.5.2. Creating and updating. It talks about how you create and keep the document updated. When creating and updating the documented information, the organization shall ensure appropriate identification and description. So whenever you prepare a document, make sure you give a proper author, approver, and if there's any changes made, then you put a version control to it. What are the changes made in that particular version? All these things should be very nicely documented. Format, make sure you have the proper language, you have the right graphics. The document should be very easy to read. Basically, that is the whole intention. Review and approval for suitability and adequacy. It should properly and regularly be reviewed, because see, once you write a policy, right, then maybe there are some changes in your organization. So whenever there is a change, you come back and make sure that you update your policy again. You review it on a regular intervals, and then after you review it, make the changes and get the right approval so that you keep your policy current. So that is what the document, and it is applicable to each and every document. Maybe it is a process document or a SOP, or maybe it is a policy. Whatever documentation that are required for the ISMS, make sure that it is clearly documented, it is approved, and it is regularly reviewed. Clause 7.5.3 Control of documented information. This control is more about how you maintain and control your documents. Documented information required by the information security management system and by this document shall be controlled to ensure. Why should you control these documents? Why should you have a proper control management on these documents? Because it should be available and suitable for use where and when it is needed. So whenever a document is needed by whomever it is needed, it should be available, and it should be in its latest form or the latest version. It should not be outdated, so that it is useful for them. Any document that you are making, ensure that it is available and it is suitable for use where and when it is needed. It is adequately protected from loss of confidentiality, improper use, and loss of integrity. So that's the reason why we say you should have proper version control on the document. You should have proper approval of the document. So no one should be able to make any changes in the document without the approval. The document, whenever you're sharing, it should not have the edit option enabled in it. So these kind of minor things that you need to keep in mind. For the control of documented information, the organization shall address the following activities as applicable. Then it says that you have to use these below things for the documents: distribution, access, retrieval, and use. So it should be distributed properly. You should have proper access. It should be, you will be able to retrieve that document whenever it is required for usage. Storage and preservation, you should have maybe you can have a central repository, or maybe you can have a portal or a SharePoint where you'll store all these documents, including the preservation of legibility. Control of changes, that is, you should have proper version control. Retention and disposition, so whenever a policy is outdated, depends on organization. Some organization keep the outdated policies for 3 years and then they decommission it, or then they dispose it. Sorry, they keep it for 3 years and then they dispose it. But then there are organizations who just keep only the latest version of their policy. In that case also, you ensure that you have proper retention and disposition. Documentation information of external origin determined by the organization to be necessary for planning and operation of information security management system. Are any documents which are required from an external origin, that also should be identified as appropriately, and it should be controlled. Maybe sometimes you're having dependency on other policies, so even those kind of documents, like whenever you do a third-party risk assessment, then you ask for their documents, then even those kind of documents should be well maintained and it should be appropriately controlled. Not everyone should have access to those documents. Point 5.3 is all about how well you maintain your documents and how you can preserve it. That's all for clause 7. If you have any questions, you can drop your question in the comment box and do let me know how you find this video. In my next video, we will be discussing about clause 8. Until then, goodbye.